Well, I want to thank Marie and thank Ashwani for inviting me. I always welcome the opportunity to talk about RIS. I was one of the 6 people in the room. This is my first opportunity to be at an IJIS meeting, and I'm very glad. I've enjoyed the speakers so far. Usually, we have another representative from RIS that's at these meetings, our Chief Information Officer. He is a tall, bald guy with a thick Philly accent. This afternoon, you have the short, brown-haired lady with the Southern accent. So we go from one extreme to another at RIS. But I really welcome the opportunity to be here, and hope that I can present some information to you to make you more familiar with RIS. By a show of hands, who is familiar with the RIS program? Got more people than I expected, several of you. Well, I want to, way back here. Okay. I want to take just a few minutes and talk about overall the history of RIS, who we are, the landscape. Last year, RIS celebrated our 50th anniversary. ROCIC was the first of the 6 RIS centers that was established in 1973. So we have come a long way in the realm of information sharing. Like Marie mentioned this morning, we've adapted, just like IJIS has, with the technology that is available, with the other mechanisms and things like that that's available. We started out with a pen, paper, and a telephone line, and now we use our RISNet secure information cloud to share information. And we evolve just as our law enforcement customers evolve. The technology that they use in their day-to-day business, we provide that type of technology to share information. For the regional information sharing systems, information sharing is our middle name, and we concentrate on that, and we particularly concentrate on the security of that information. But security can't just be technology. Security also has to involve procedures and policies, and we focus heavily on that. You'll see that we have 6 of the RIS centers. I'm the director of the Southern RIS Center, covering the 14 southern states. And so while a lot of the conversation you've had about RIS has been the overall nationwide program, I'll speak to that too, because I'm the immediate past president of the RIS National Policy Group. And of course, we're all involved with the nationwide program and our nationwide enterprise resources. But also, as my day-to-day job, my day job, is directing the RIS Center for the 14 southern states, dealing directly with the law enforcement officers from across our region. We serve nationwide 10,000 law enforcement agencies that are state, local, federal, tribal agencies, and the officers that belong to them, that are employed by them. And ROCIC, we have 2,500 of those member agencies. So a lot of people depend on the RIS network for information sharing. We have, each of the RIS centers are governed by a board of directors. The board of directors consists of local, state, governance of active law enforcement leaders. We have several sheriffs, police chiefs, chief deputies that dictate the policies and the direction of the RIS program. So RIS operates under 3 basic pillars: investigative case support, secure information and intelligence sharing, and officer safety, deconfliction, and now also officer safety wellness. So whenever I spoke with Ashwani and Marie, they said, talk about the upcoming things with RIS. One thing that I'm very excited about, what RIS is working on now, is later this year we're going to be introducing a mobile app. And you say, mobile app, everybody has a mobile app. Why is RIS just now getting a mobile app? Security is the main reason, because the information that we're going to be sharing, we had to make sure it had the proper security protocols for that. And so we are focusing first off on this first release. It's going to be on the Apple platform. We'll talk about Android later after we get this up and running, but for right now it's going to be the Apple platform. And there's going to be 3 different operations that you can have on this: our RIS Intel database, operations, which is our RIS Safe event deconfliction program, and money, which is our money counter network that matches currency. I'm going to talk about each of these 3, but before I get into those, we're going slow. Just want to pop up here and show you the results of what some of our work has been. We have over 78 million records that are available through our risk system, 4.5 million inquiries to our system over this past year, 800,000 hits. We have 60 databases that are connected to our risk intel system, thousands of products that we produce, and a lot of activity comes through the risk system, and it results in a lot of information sharing for our different law enforcement officers. So usually we talk about just the RiskNet system and the things that are available to that. But I wanted to start and spend a few minutes today taking a look at our core services. The first pillar that we talked about was investigative case support. We do have the intelligence, risk intel, criminal intelligence database that's going to be on that risk app, mobile app. But how do we get information into that? And I'll talk about a little bit more about risk intel in a minute. But the information that we do at the center level contributes into that information. As I said, we have 10,000 law enforcement agencies that we provide these resources and have the RiskNet system available to them, but they also, the member agencies, have access to our core services at the center level. I'm going to go through and just briefly talk about each one of them. Law enforcement coordinators, I mentioned security. So we have law enforcement coordinators in each of our states that are boots on the ground. For most of our agencies, they're the face of the risk program. They don't know who I am at the center level. They don't know who our analysts are necessarily, but they know who that individual that's out there going into their police department, sheriff's department, state agency. They know who that individual is. And they are the ones that are actively taking a look at the roster. They are the ones that are identifying who can securely vet an individual in order to have access to our system. I mentioned the board of directors a few minutes ago. We take security very seriously, and that started 50 years ago, and it continues today. An agency, in order for them to have access to our system, they have to undergo the background investigation. Our board of directors has to approve them, and then from that point, the head of that agency, be it the sheriff, the chief, whoever it is, they designate who they want to have control over who has access, who has an account. And so that representative individual, they are the ones that vet anyone that's asking for an account. They also periodically meet with this law enforcement coordinator, and the law enforcement coordinator says, here's your list of people, is this still active? Of course, that representative is also responsible for if someone leaves, they need to be going in and taking them, deleting their access for that. But we know we have to have not only the technology that does that, but we have to have that human intervention to make sure that that process is being accounted for, and we do that regularly. Also, the law enforcement coordinator works with that representative to share that information, to go in and say, are you contributing information? Are you making sure that all of the services that we offer, that you're aware of them? Is there anything that you need to take advantage of that we offer? Have you thought about using this service for this case? Can we contribute and help you find this lead? Can we further this investigation in this way or another? They are the ones that are reminding them of what we have to offer. So most law enforcement agencies have an analytical unit, and that consists of your people that are doing research for short-term and long-term. At ROCIC, we divide it up. Our short-term research individuals, get this all up here. Our short-term research is our CIU unit, and they use approximately 50 different data sources to gather information to track down leads for our officers that do a request for information. And yes, we use facial recognition, we use LPR information, we use law enforcement databases, we use risk resources, and we also use public source information, social media. But they literally are doing the legwork for the officer, gives the police department, the sheriff's department, it gives them extra manpower. And that's what this unit does. It's our quick turnaround unit. We also offer technical services, offers investigative equipment. I equate this to a library. We have 45-day loans. We have an inventory of surveillance equipment, and an officer can check out equipment for a loan. They can extend the loan past the 45 days if that needs to happen, and then hopefully it will give them leads to further their investigation. We also offer audiovisual forensics. We clarify information or the pictures on video. We clarify the audio, take the background noise out. We take information such as we get a lot of people, here's this license plate. Can you take this license plate and clarify it? We cannot, however, we have had a request, we cannot remove a van from a video or from a picture and see what is behind that van. When you remove that picture from that van, there is nothing there. It cannot see through it. We actually have had those requests. But this is a great service, and also in addition to just the AV forensics, we've also added transcription services. And this is not something that is without effort. We run it through a program, we give it back to the officer, and the officer does have to then go back and check. But at least it saves the officer a little bit of time in that transcription information. We also have digital forensic unit where we can, cell phones pretty much has taken over things now. We can also get information from hard drives, gaming systems, digital media, but cell phones is the primary thing that everybody's using now. Everybody has a cell phone in their hand, and everybody wants to get data. There's a wealth of data off of those cell phones, and so we do that. We have Cellbrite, we have Gray Key, we have all of the tools to do that. And we have the analytical unit, which for ROCIC, that's the long-term turnaround. That's the one where they're delving into information. They're taking cell tower mapping and they're producing charts. They're perhaps doing a crime scene diagram. They're taking social media, they're putting it side by side. They're doing timelines. They're doing that information to make the puzzle pieces fit together to provide that to the officer so the case can make sense to the jury. And we have training. We just came back 2 weeks ago from Houston, Texas for our annual spring conference, and that was a Gangs and Narcotics conference. Had almost 450 people in attendance, training them on all aspects of different narcotics and gangs investigation. This fall, end of October, we're going to be going to Hilton Head for our annual homicide conference. This will be our 33rd annual homicide conference. Provide a great deal of training and things like that. We'll be having some specialized training. We also have our training room at the center that we have different trainings that we offer to law enforcement. And we have publications. We provide different types of publications, such as every other week we send out a digital piece of information with active criminal cases to share and see if we can find other MOs throughout the country that match what's going on in one jurisdiction. We also have special publications, such as a gang publication we've put out. We do surveys, we get information back, we provide information showing different hand signs for gangs, for example, but different things like that. All of these things to provide law enforcement with vital information that they need. And then we have RiskNet, our online capability. But let me go back to these core services at the center and talk about them for just a second. The reason they are so vital is because whenever an agency requests information from us, we're helping them further that investigation by providing them with leads. We're giving them information. It's not information that they can make an arrest on, but it's something that they can take and further that investigation. And that information, either that they give us to start with, is put into our risk intel database, or information that we give them helps them develop more information that can go into that information database and be available to all of our member agencies for sharing and to see, is someone that's committing this crime in Kentucky? Are they also doing something in Florida? In addition to our member agencies that go through our vetting process, we also have about 51,000 users that come through a federated identity. We have connections with LEAP, also with HISN, and vice versa. It's bidirectional. So secure information and intelligence sharing. That's that #1 product on that Risk Mobile app. And Risk Intel is the way that we share target information. Okay, Risk Intel is our criminal intelligence database. Everything in it has to meet the level threshold of 28 CFR, meaning you have to have reasonable suspicion to put any information in there, be it a target subject, be it an organization, license, anything of information that will be of help to an investigation. and it has millions of records in it. In addition to the information that comes in through directly from our member agencies that's put into the RIS-Intel system, it's a system of systems, and it has different partner systems that connect to that. There are state and regional databases. On this slide, I know you probably can't read it if your eyesight's like mine, but we have it defaulted to, for the ROCIC region, to where it picks up the RIS-Intel main database, and it also picks up the partner systems from our region. That makes it, it doesn't make it as much if you're not interested in things that happen far away from here. It just has that here. But just a few of them that are connected: West Virginia, Tennessee, South Carolina, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Louisville, Metro, PD. They have a regional center through there. But those are the ones just from the southern 14 states. Other ones that are connected, Colorado, Montana, Pennsylvania State Police, Philadelphia State Police, just several different. But there are approximately 60 data sources that are connected to that. And you can have a one search stop. And I don't know if you'll appreciate me announcing this, but we are in discussions with LEAP and with Index. Index is not a 28 CFR compliant system, but we're in conversation with them to connect those systems. And then we would, of course, work out the difference whenever someone is receiving that information. They'll know whether it's the 28 CFR compliant data or if it's the Index data that's not the 28 CFR compliant data. But great system, easy to use, and we encourage all of our membership to participate in the database, to send information into the database, and to, you don't want to have that situation like many of our speakers have talked about before. You don't want the information to be there and you didn't check it. So we encourage participation in that. Just showing a few of the screens that we'll go through. Another one of the applications that's going to be on that mobile app is RISSafe. Now, RISSafe is Officer Event Deconfliction System. This is a system, and I've got a video, and just I'm afraid that it probably won't have the sound in it as well, so I'll just kind of do the setup. We'll see if it works, and then I'll talk a little about it as well. RISSafe has been in operation for about 15 years now, and it is not only a system that can save officers' lives, it can save resources. It does not share information. It only shares date, time, and location of a potential event. The RISSafe system doesn't have to be criminal. It can also be dignitary protection. And that way, if you've got your governor speaking and you've got one agency that's in charge of that dignitary protection for the governor, if you know you have another agency or another branch of your agency that's involved in a drug deal, you don't want to have the drug deal going on next door to where the governor's going to be speaking. And this is a way that officers can get together and talk about it. All we do, they put it in there. There are radiuses. If the radiuses overlap, then a contact is made. An email notification is sent out to the officer that entered it, the primary officer, and they always have a secondary backup officer that's listed in there. In addition to that, the risk program, we also reach out and try and call because, what if they're not looking at that email? We want to make sure that we do everything we can to notify these officers to make sure that we avoid that blue-on-blue situation, or just the fact that the DEA has spent 6 months and a lot of resources and a lot of time and money working on a certain case, and they don't want someone to come in and, by no fault of their own, think that, oh, I'm going to take out this small-time dealer and blow the whole operation. So it helps in that respect as well. This basically is some news reports from Detroit whenever they had 2 sections in the Detroit Police Department that were working, and they both had undercover officers in there. They didn't know they were each working on the same thing, and it was a disaster. It was an embarrassment to the department. The chief is speaking on here, talks about they were acting like Keystone cops because they were not organized and did not share information. Sad thing is they had access to this system and it could have been avoided. I'm going to move right on. Very simple to use, literally takes 2 minutes. We were doing a presentation yesterday and we did a live demo on it. Less than 2 minutes to enter the information. For a RISNet user, You can go ahead and everything when you start it is pre-populated as far as who you are. It recognizes your attributes and pulls those over. RiskSafe is one of the 2 resources that we have that you do not have to be from a member agency to use. We allow all law enforcement to have access to RiskSafe because we want everyone to be safe. There is some training online training that they have to go through to get an account, and we have to, of course, vet that officer, but we do not require membership in order to use this resource. That is what the map looks like. That is an event that has been entered. It has an area around it. You can choose from either a quarter of a mile all the way up to 5 miles to set as your parameter. If you can see in there, there's a small, two events, 2 dots. There's a small event that has a small parameter. There's one that's larger, and those 2 dots have to overlap. It can't just be that the parameter overlaps, it's that that event actually has to be in that. So the RiskSafe system, there's actually 3 event deconfliction systems in the country. The RISK program has RiskSafe, and Case Explorer and Safety Net were both developed by the IJIS systems. The 3 systems communicate with each other. Now, I can't see anything that's going on in a Case Explorer or a Safety Net system. As a matter of fact, unless you're a watch center, you can't see anything that's going on in any of these systems. But at the watch center at ROCIC, in which we have 29 different watch centers across the country, all of the risk centers, Kentucky State Police is a watch center for us, Alabama Fusion Center is a watch center, El Paso. There's 29 throughout the country. Those watch centers can see what is in their area, what's going on. But a user can't see anything. There's no way that they can fish and find out extra information. But if someone has entered into a Case Explorer system, the notifications happen just like it was in the RiskSafe system. Everyone is notified, we're still making those calls, and we prevent those blue-on-blue situations and those loss of resources. You can have the information already on computer, your desktop. It has mobile capability, but at this point, it's just in the browser. But we're excited that it's going to be going to this actual true mobile app in the future. The third component on that app is going to be our money counter network. Our RIS has developed the software that goes on money counter machines. We don't own nor sell the money counter machines. We have developed the software that goes on it. And this basically, depending on the capabilities of the particular machine that you have, it will match the currency numbers. And if you have, they're entered by batches. If you're going out to do a drug deal, you'll put your funds in a batch. Or if you're coming in and you've seized currency, you put that in a batch. And the system matches looks for currency serial numbers. And if there's a match, it notifies you. Puts these 2 officers together. We actually was talking last week, one of the sheriffs in Wisconsin, he had purchased one of these machines, installed our software on it, and they had the cash bail system there. And so everyone that came in to post cash bond, he was putting that through the money counter system. And he said he had already got a few matches on there. People coming in to post bond were using some currency, some cash that had been used as drug buy money. So making cases that way. Just anything that we can do to bring officers together. Again, this isn't a 28 CFR compliant databases, it's just matching those serial numbers. I did want to mention, this is not part of the first release of the mobile app that we'll be doing, but we've talked so much about collaboration this today. And RISK does have one of our newer resources, are the RISK collaboration websites. And these are strictly just websites that are limited access. You have to have, in addition to your RiskNet account, you have to have special permission to be in one of these groups. And it's just a way for different organizations, a task force, a group, just different crime, if you're investigating certain crime in several different parts of your state, you can set up a collaboration website. It's secure, you can share documents, you can share a calendar, you can share chat, just information. So that's another way that RIS is helping to collaborate. And lots of success stories. Let me just throw one out because I think I'm getting low on my time. There are hundreds and hundreds of success stories. I can tell you stats. I'm a stat person. I talked to somebody earlier today. I love the numbers. But the numbers don't really resonate. The stories are what resonates. And we have a public site. You can go to this and look and see. We have a stat page on it. But you can click on any state within that map. And you can read literally hundreds of different success stories about how the resources that RIS provides are helping law enforcement apprehend and prosecute criminals. Just one recent one that we were talking about the other day, Metro Nashville was looking for someone. They had been abusing their 3-year-old child, basically dipping their hands in either water or boiling water or oil, and just disfigured the child. Couldn't find the suspect, the mother, but using our resources through our CIU center, they were able to find her through some relative information, and they were able to apprehend that suspect and get her back and arrested. So when we hear about things like that that are a result of our resources, it makes us proud and worthwhile that we come to work every day. So with that, I'm going to close out.